Folks, it is a good day. Christmas seemingly came early by way of the folks over at Video Games Plus, as we are getting not just a reprint of one of the most expensive PlayStation 5 games, we are also getting a reprint of one of the most expensive Nintendo Switch games, one that I was personally missing from my collection, and I'm very happy and also surprised to see getting reprinted. So let's talk about it. We'll start with the PS5 game, and of course, that is Final Fantasy VII Remake Intergrade. If you have been paying any attention to PS5 collecting, you will know that Remake Intergrade for the PS5 has been one of the most expensive PS5 games for like the past year or so. If we tab over to the price charting for this game, it spiked completely around the time that Rebirth came out, back in, February, March, and, even back in, 2023, it was still above MSRP, right? But when Rebirth came out, it completely spiked, and it came down a little bit in the following months, but it was still a very expensive game, and it's one of the most requested games to get a reprint because, it's Final Fantasy. Final Fantasy has had a rough couple of years in terms of having limited print games. Of course, we had the Pixel Remaster, which was, $1,000 on PS4, and then that got reprinted. There was also Crisis Core Reunion, which had a little bit of a bump there around the time that Rebirth released, and now we're getting a reprint of Intergrade. So if you are a Final Fantasy fan and you have been sad that you couldn't get a reasonably priced copy of 7 Remake Intergrade, now you have a chance because they have it up for pre-order for $41 on their website over on Video Games Plus. I'll have this link down below. It's not an affiliate or anything. I just love what Video Games Plus does. They're constantly reprinting games that need to be reprinted, so huge shout out to them. And also, this is a great price, $41, $41.48 after we translate it from Canadian to USD. So absolutely crazy. This is shipping in February, it says. What's interesting about Intergrade is that it's just a code on the for the DLC. The base game is on the disc, but I have my copy here that I got back at launch. I just happened to buy it when it released. The Intergrade DLC where you play as Yuffie, that is on a download code. So yeah, that's annoying. I wish they would reprint it and put all that DLC on the disc. I doubt this is going to do that. I'd be very surprised if Square Enix did that. But either way, the fact that you will be able to buy a PS5 copy of Intergrade for a completely reasonable price is extremely nice, and one of the most overdue PS5 reprints out of them all, honestly. But if you collect on Nintendo, don't worry, because you're not being left out either. The Messenger is getting a reprint. I really did not expect this. Special Reserve initially did the original run a couple of years ago for the Switch and PS4 versions. If you're not familiar with the Messenger, this is basically a Ninja Gaiden game from the developers of Sea of Stars. This was, I want to say, their first game. At the very least, it was the game they made before Sea of Stars, which is, one of the best RPGs of 2023, or at least it was nominated for Best RPG last year. The Messenger is a Ninja Gaiden-like game that I have had my eye on for a very long time. I played a little bit of it. I think it was like a game trial on Switch at some point or something, and it seemed very high quality, and I've wanted to get a physical release for this game, and thankfully now we can. This is going to be a new re-release that includes the Picnic Panic DLC on the cartridge, which is totally awesome. This is coming in March of 2025. There is also a PS5 version, which is interesting because originally there was only a PS4 physical release for the Messenger. But just to give you an idea, this is what the Messenger was looking like on Switch. Really, right now, this is what it's currently looking like before this reprint happens. It is one of the most expensive Switch games. Used, complete, $236. New price, $275. There are more expensive games, but the Messenger is usually regarded as like one of the most expensive, one of the most high quality indie games on the Nintendo Switch. So for it to be getting a reprint is so nice. Looking at this chart here, it came out, it came out in January of 2021, immediately spiked. It's a very highly reviewed game. People love the Messenger. I've never heard anybody say a bad thing about the Messenger. If you grew up with like Ninja Gaiden, or if you like the classic Ninja Gaiden games, this is one that has been constantly a very expensive title for the Nintendo Switch, and not just on the Nintendo Switch, also on the PS4. The PS4 release here is also expensive, not as expensive, right? It's not quite to that level, but it is still a very expensive game, so the PS5 release should at the very least help alleviate the PS4 price, but also there is a PS5 release, which I imagine most people would prefer to have. This is a fantastic thing, and especially for me, as they just announced Ninja Gaiden Ragebound, I've been wanting to go back and play the original Ninja Gaiden trilogy on the NES, because I've played those games in the past, but I don't think I ever actually beat any of them because they're extremely hard, but I'm in my Ninja Gaiden mode right now. I want to play some of these games, and The Messenger is basically just a modern Ninja Gaiden game, and now we have Ragebound coming out, so this re-release is definitely going to propel me to playing The Messenger finally in 2025, and the fact that VGP back-to-back announced a reprint for one of the most expensive PS5 games and now one of the most expensive Switch games is just so exciting. Also, I mean, huge shout out, The Messenger on PS5 is only $27.65 after you convert it, which is just, I mean, that's a crazy price. I think it might be $15-20 on you know, digital storefronts. So for a little bit more, you get the DLC included, you get a physical copy. That is super nice, and I'm just happy to see this get a reprint. It's one I just didn't think would happen because, like I said, Special Reserve did the initial release of this game, and to my knowledge, I don't think they've done that many reprints of their games. Correct me in the comments down below, or at the very least, they haven't reprinted any of this, you know, this high scale, right? Like, I mean, this is one of the most requested reprints on the Nintendo Switch. So for a limited company to reprint a game, that is a very surprising thing, but also just very exciting thing, in my opinion. I really hope that one day we can see LRG work with WayForward and reprint Shantae and the Pirate's Curse. I imagine we probably get a Switch 2 version of that eventually, which will maybe make the Switch 1 version come down. But also, that's a different thing because Devolver Digital, you know, they work with Special Reserve, but they also do a lot of their own stuff, their own publishing on their own ends. And WayForward pretty much exclusively works with LRG, so I'm not going to hold out too much hope for that. But yeah, this is one of the most expensive Switch games, a very expensive PS4 game, so to see it getting this new release is nothing but a good thing and just very, very exciting. I do feel a little bad for anybody that paid the exorbitant prices here for The Messenger because not only is it getting reprinted, and you shouldn't have paid that much for it to begin with, it is going to be an inferior version now because this new version has the Picnic Panic DLC on the cartridge. It's not a code. All of that content is on the cartridge. All of the updates should be on the cartridge. So the original printing of Messenger on Switch is outdated now, and that's what a lot of people spent $200, $300 on. Very glad it's getting reprinted, but that would probably suck if you, that would suck if you spent that much on it to begin with. There were a couple of other reprints that I wanted to talk about in today's video. They did also reprint the Yomawari Long Night Collection. This is one of those NIS America games that I was missing from my collection. It was a pretty early release, I think, on the Switch, maybe like 2018, 2019. So not super early, but, you know, it was earlier than when I got into NIS America collecting, right? You can still see the old NIS logo is on there. Also has the T to M rating. This one, it got a reprint, I believe, around Black Friday, maybe a week after Black Friday. So I wanted to include it. This is one of the last NIS America games I was missing from my collection. I've heard nothing but good things about the Yomawari games. I think they also reprinted the sequel. So both of these games are currently available for, you know, I mean, it's funny that this is still more expensive than Final Fantasy VII Remake Intergrade, but the fact that it's not, you know, what was it going for before? I mean, this was another very expensive one, not quite to that level, right? Yeah, here it is for the Yomawari Long Night Collection that just got a reprint. This one has come down over time, right? It's not like the most expensive game, but for a while there in 2021, it was pushing, you know, $80, $90. So to see it get a proper reprint, as well as the sequel Lost in the Dark, this one was never too awfully bad, I don't think. I bought this one when it came out, so it wasn't too bad, but this one was also reprinted. So if you want to go on VGP and pick up both these reprints on top of Messenger, on top of Final Fantasy VII Remake Intergrade, it's all available right now. It's very nice. I was lucky, like I said, I already had Intergrade, but I will definitely be picking up the Yomawari collection and the Messenger. And then there was one final game I wanted to shout out here. I've heard this game's name in passing, but I wasn't that familiar with it. I believe this is a Contra-like game called Iron Meat, and unfortunately, I made this video a little too late. A lot of these pre-orders have already gone out of the way, right? They're already sold out. The Switch version, sold out. If you go over directly to Strictly Limited, everything is sold out here. You can still get the PS5 release, though, so there is something you can still get. I'm sorry I missed this one, man. Like I said, I'd heard this game in passing, and I had never really seen much of it. Like, I didn't see that many people talking about it, but looking at the screenshots, I mean, it has some absolutely awesome pixel art, awesome character design, monster designs. Like, this is what I'm sad I missed. I mean, this came and went real quick. Now this is like a European release. If we go over to eBay, it looks like it always was a European thing, actually. My bad. I guess because Strictly Limited did it initially and they just reprinted it. This is a pretty expensive game, like, you know, pushing 130 bucks. I imagine this new reprint, even though it is like a limited edition where you had to buy it with like this little metal card as well as this slipcover, this should bring the price down a little bit once it does ship in March. So even though I missed the pre-order for it, and if you're watching this, you probably missed it too if you're learning about it for the first time, the price of this should hopefully come down a little bit. Also, that's funny, it's actually showing me deli slicers because Iron Meat is a very funny name. But yeah, this is one that I really had not heard much about, but I heard the name a couple times. I'm gonna be honest, when I first heard of it, I thought it was gonna be like a Doom clone, but it is a Contra type game, and this looks sick. I'm sad I missed the reprint for this, but like I said, if you go on over to Strictly Limited, I'll have this link down below. You can still get the PS5 limited metal edition of this game. Yeah, limited to 2,500 copies. So these are solid, man. Usually, like, okay, it's limited to like 2,500. I think the Switch version. Let's see what was that limited to. That was limited to 4,000, and that sold out like immediately. So there is a demand for Iron Meats. I didn't know. I'm gonna be honest. I had no idea. This one snuck up on me for sure. But yeah, man, VGP has just been killing it recently. They also reprinted the Trine collection, or it really wasn't even a reprint. I mean, it was a new release called the Trine Ultimate Collection. Had Trine 1 through 4. I made a video about that back in October or November. My copy of that came in a few weeks ago. Very happy that VGP seems to have a very good pulse on like what the community wants. Now, to be clear, some of these games are going to be at other retailers, but VGP always coming through with these reprints at pretty reasonable prices, and I'm just happy to see them continuing to do that, and hopefully in the future we see even more. I'm curious what you guys think we need to see reprinted next. I mean, for me, honestly, I'm getting to the point with Switch especially where I'm kind of like, I kind of have everything I need. I feel like they've reprinted a lot of the stuff that was very, very expensive. Unless we get into more limited run stuff, if they do Shantae, that'd be cool, but like, I'm not really sure what else I want them to reprint, so I'll be curious to hear what you guys have to say in the comments down below. What Switch games do you think still need to get another reprint, and what PS5 games do you still think are due for a reprint? I would like to see them get into some NIS America stuff on PS5. Ys 9, I talked about a few weeks ago. I already have that game, but very expensive game. Grimoire once more. Alan Wake Remastered, that'd be a nice one to do for PS5. So let me know in the comments down below. What games do you think they should reprint next, and will you be picking up any of the games that we discussed in today's video? I'm definitely going to be placing an order for Yomawari as well as the Messenger, but let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. Of course, subscribe here for more collecting content like this, as well as other general gaming things, and until next time, folks, peace.